Hello, and welcome back to me specifically because I have been in Iceland. It has been a long time since I played this game, so honestly, don't even know what year it is. Let's see, 2023. I believe in the last episode we lost to the Red Sox in the ALDS in 5 games, so a bit of a disappointment there because I believe we had home field advantage, could not come out with a W, but that is what happens in the postseason. Not many games did not know Eric Skoglund was 6'7". But anyway, some exciting things. I've been taking a quick look just at some stuff. And the thing that really jumped out to me is, wow, look at how much money we have. We can actually sign a free agent. It's going to be amazing. The reason for that, if we take a look at the salaries, Paul Goldschmidt off the books, Carlos Martinez off the books. I'm actually going to be getting rid of McGuire and Diaz, so we have even more money than it says there. Now, the one thing is that Osmer Morales has this massive contract that at the time I traded for him, I didn't know about, which is totally my fault. I'm kind of okay with it because he is a dominant pitcher, but I think secretly I hope he does really well next year and the year after and then opts out. We can't control that, but I just have a feeling that this back half of the contract isn't going to be so favorable considering he's already 31. But, I mean, he has been real dominant. He was the best pitcher in baseball last season, at least in the American League. So, very excited to have him back. But let's take a look at salary arbitration. We're going to be bringing Skoglund back because we need pitchers big time. We're going to be bringing back Cabrera and Gabo, Lugo and Madrigal and Toasty and Sanchez. Basically, all of kind of the core is going to be coming back. We're not going to be losing anyone that really had a giant impact on the team last year. There are some notable players, though. So McGuire, obviously, he's been with us basically since the beginning. Not quite, but basically. And he's been our catcher, and he had a really good season last year. If he had kind of a repeat of that or even a pretty good season last year, I think I would have kept him. But you know, most seasons he's been a below average player, and he kind of reverted back to that last season at age 28. So I don't really feel like paying him $9 million. I feel like we could go out, get someone who's a little bit better. We have no prospects, so no one's coming up. But you know, I just figured I could do a little bit better. And same with Diaz, really the same story. Not quite as extreme with Diaz, but you know, he wanted about $9 million. So I just kind of figured, you know, given that he's not great defensively and offensively, he was below average last year. Let's try someone else. So we're going to be letting Diaz go. And then in terms of free agents, Paul Goldschmidt is going away. So he was definitely, I think the contract was worth it. We had him for 4 seasons. He was pretty pricey, but really spectacular seasons in 2 of the years he was with the team. Very good season last year. And then this year, still above average, but you know, certainly he'll be basically age 37 next year. I don't really want to bring him back for a team option that was like $28 million. Just not going to happen. However, I was looking at his contract demands. I do think we'll be able to get a qualifying pick off of him, so that's good. We'll get an extra draft pick. The same might be true of Carlos Martinez. We're definitely thin for that number 5 spot in the starting rotation, so I'm not wholly opposed to potentially just offering him a qualifying offer and hoping he declines it. But then if he accepts it, like, that's okay. That's kind of what I feel. He definitely had a bit of a bounce back season from last year. I mean, he's not a great pitcher. He's not who we thought we were going to be getting. But you can see the ERA plus was above average. The Ks per 9 were a little bit higher than they were last year. He was not bad. In fact, the whip was kind of back down to where it normally is. But he did, you know, he has given up more home runs than he has in the past. So, you know, kind of what I would say is I might end up just offering him that 1 year, 15 mil and hoping he declines, but I'd be okay if he accepts it. Pointer going away. Obviously, he's been with us for a while as well. So, and we have a lot of young relievers, so I'm fine with that. But let's do a quick overview. So Conine, spectacular season, 42 bombs, hit over 300. Look at that OPS plus, really, really solid. He even had 11 steals. Vinny Toasty, kind of that classic, the bat's not great, but the base running and fielding is so good it doesn't matter. He is only 23 years old. He'll be 24 next year. So that is sometimes, it's hard to realize, oh my gosh, this guy is really good and he's that young. But he'll definitely age quickly just because of the type of player he is. But we'll enjoy him while we have him. Nick Pratto as well, unfortunately, was injured during the postseason, but very good player. He'll be back. Madrigal finally had a better than average offensive season, so that's great to see. Bit of a down year for Sanchez, but still an above average player. You can see Cole Enright. Who is Cole Enright? Well, I just traded for him. This is something I vaguely remember from before. Oh, we traded Galati for him. Well, I think that's still worth it because we just needed a second baseman more than a center fielder. But anyway, you can see Galati had one average season for us. Otherwise, a little bit below average. The offense definitely picked up a little bit last year, but I just figured trade him while he's got a high stock. And we get Cole Enright for him, who, as you can see, had an above average offensive season last year. He's also better defensively than what Diaz was. So I think he'll be a good player. I mean, this is not like a giant pickup or something, but he'll be an upgrade, I think, which is always good to have. So I don't really think there are any holes on this team, except for maybe at catcher, where Brendan Tinsman would be taking over. So not too thrilled about that. We're going to try to make an upgrade in free agency, I believe. But anyway, the other guy, I guess, that we'll have to see what happens is Ismael Zermeno. Keep in mind, the guy's 21 years old, so did not have a great season last year. I'm not wholly shocked considering it was his first season, but you can see the ratings there. Very, very good. Really think he'll be coming along, developing well next season. And, quite frankly, I think we'll do okay, even if he's just kind of a slightly below average hitter next year and then really starts to pick it up the year after or something. That's fine. I understand that. And he's super cheap. Obviously, he's making the league minimum. So anyway, that is the team. I don't really think there's too much more to cover. Oh, we should talk about prospects. Let's go through the prospects, and then we'll really start simming ahead here. All right, let's take a look at the prospects here. I've got work ethic now, which is a nice added thing here in our list, but let's go by potential for now. So you can see Jorge Corona really developing pretty well, still only 19 years old, but those are some good ratings for a 19-year-old. So that's kind of what I meant when I said we have a lot of center fielders. Don't really know that we need Gigliotti because, man, this guy is looking good. And we're going to have to put him somewhere. I guess he can play shortstop, maybe. Let's take a look at the ratings. Yeah, good infield range. The double play, maybe not so much there. Kind of looks a lot like a third baseman, actually. Yeah, pretty good arm. I guess not a great arm, but maybe a better outfielder. Anyway, point is you could stick him in a lot of different places. So that's exciting. He played pretty well in Double-A last year, so he'll be in Triple-A next year, no question. He'll be 20 years old, so that's someone who I really think could make a very big difference for us. So I'm really excited to have him kind of in the wings waiting. And then our second best prospect, also a center fielder, but also not really a great defensive center fielder. I do kind of like his infield ratings, though, so I guess we'll have to see about that. He's got some good running speed. In fact, his outfield ratings aren't bad, but he could definitely play the infield somewhere. We'll have to take a look and see where we might be able to put him. But anyway, look at that, 80 power. I mean, that is exciting. Obviously, he's going to strike out quite a lot, but at the age of 16, he projects to be someone who could be pretty good. Anyway, we've got Jose Jr. Craig. Doesn't really look like a starter to me, but I guess we'll see. Pitched pretty poorly in A+ ball. You've got Mike DeSisto, who kind of looks like average, above average shortstop. So, maybe when Madrigal gets a little too expensive, we can just kind of replace him with DeSisto. That's a couple years away. I don't know, Serge Hebert is kind of the same way. Luis Molina, he's someone who we've talked about in the past. Very good offensive ratings. He really seems to be coming along again. Only 18, so he's still got a while to go. But anyway, I'm not going to go through everyone here, but, essentially we've got a lot of players that are intriguing. Just to keep you guys aware of where we're kind of at development-wise, I would say we're a little thin prospect-wise, but we're still holding our own. We're definitely not like, okay, this is our time to win, and then we're going to really be bad for a while. We've still got some guys, waiting in the wings that we can bring up. Anyway, I'm just going to sim ahead a little bit, probably to free agency, and then we'll take a look at the awards and see who we can sign. All right, so I have simmed ahead a little bit. So obviously we were looking for a catcher as a free agent. Brandon Tinsman is a right-handed hitter and does better against lefties. So I was like, wow, could I find a catcher who's just really good against righties? And we could have a nice little platoon. And I found this guy who is the most platoon guy I have ever seen in this game. So you can see his contact avoid K ratings does not look very good. But, you know, good speed, good defense for a catcher, good work ethic. A lot of things look good. Look at his ratings, okay? Versus right, 55 contact, 55 avoid K, pretty good offensively. And versus left, he is awful. He is absolutely awful. So this is the type of guy I would think about at least offering a minor league contract to. So let's take a look. Yeah, minor league contract, absolutely. That would be really funny if he made the team. But anyway, that's not really that serious. Unfortunately, when I am taking a look at the free agents, especially the catchers, I'm not really too thrilled with what I see. You can see Reese McGuire, clearly the best catcher on the market. He is also a lefty, but he's looking for $9 million, so I don't really want to pay him $9 million. I don't want to do it. There is Mike Zunino, but he is a shell of the man that he used to be. Anyway, not really finding anything. And otherwise, bit of an issue. Carlos Martinez did accept his qualifying offer. So even though he was declining a 1-year, $15 million contract when I offered it to him, he up and decided to accept the qualifying offer. So we have a little bit more starting pitching depth at this point, but still don't really have a sixth guy. And considering that Martinez, who still has shoulder inflammation that he has to recover from, and Beeks and Skoglund, I like them, but I don't really know that I can rely on them in the rotation. Beeks certainly could move to the bullpen. He's kind of that, rover guy. We could use a starting pitcher. We also need a DH. Goldschmidt has obviously left, so that kind of leaves a gaping hole where there used to be a good bat. And guess what? Shohei Ohtani is a free agent this year, and given how much money we have, I do not think it is out of the realm of possibility that we decide to sign Shohei Ohtani. He has been a very good pitcher for many, many years in a row. Bit of a down year last year, but I think a lot of that was maybe just BABIP stuff. The Ks were still really high, walks still really low. No jumps and home runs or anything. It's just the whip, just the whip that is higher. And to me, that kind of is the BABIP talking, if I were to take a guess. But anyway, he's someone that we could really go after. And if we take a look at his batting stats, he's been good for the most part, pretty good OPS plus. So I kind of see him like filling a 2-in-1 kind of need. And then on the days where, he doesn't hit, we could have Dowell Lugo kind of jump in. I do think Akil Baddoo could, possibly be okay. Obviously waiting in the wings is Jorge Corona. I feel like there are a lot of options that we could kind of go to. So I do like the idea of getting Ohtani. We'd be spending a lot of money, but that would kind of be a big get. And I think something that we could really go with because the guy hit almost 30 home runs last year and he wasn't even playing every day. He's also a starting pitcher. He's been the MVP the year before last year and 2-time Cy Young Award winner. So I could really see getting him. And otherwise, in terms of first baseman, Cody Bellinger on the market, that 80 home run power, great work ethic, intelligent, 28 years old, hit 55 home runs last year. I mean, he has just been an absolute machine. So he's another person that I could totally see signing. He would basically just be a replacement for Paul Goldschmidt. There'd be no denying that that's exactly what we'd be doing, just getting a younger Paul Goldschmidt. But right now his demand is $50 million, so we're certainly not going to pay that. But we will see just kind of how things develop. In terms of awards, so we got to go through the awards here. Yeah, so Bryce Harper with the Phillies. Oh my God. He hit 69 home runs. What is this guy's contract? That is nothing. Oh my God, I would have signed him to this. That's unbelievable. 69 home runs. So obviously this man won MVP. He was unanimous. Yeah, I mean, obviously. That's unbelievable. Anyway, in the American League, it was Jordan Poyer who had 60 home runs as well. Oh my God. Where was this guy? Why was his rookie year at age 27? Trade with the Mets. He was just with the Mets. The Mets trade him, and then he goes and has 60 home runs. That is so New York Mets. Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, number one pitcher in the National League was Luis Severino. Had a very good season with the Giants. And in the American League, it was Alex Schreff. Interesting. I think Osmer Morales really should have won that. Why was he not the Cy Young Award winner? Was it that he only had 11 wins? Alex Schreff only had 11 wins. I don't know. Maybe it's that he just doesn't have a lot of strikeouts, but I think we got a little bit ripped off there, especially that Schreff was the unanimous Cy Young. I think that's nuts. Anyway, let's see if we won any Silver Slugger awards. We did. Griffin Conine, no surprise there. And in terms of the Gold Glove awards, we got Vinny Tosti. Vinny Tosti always wins. So, in other news, the international free agents, nothing to write home about. This Chow Yang Zhu kind of looked like the best. He looks fine. There's nothing else really to say about him. So anyway, I'm going to sim ahead a little bit. Just keep an eye on these free agents. Again, we're going to be targeting Bellinger and Ohtani. We've got a ton of money. And we've got a ton of money in the future, even with Morales' contract going up. Certainly we'll have some people going to arbitration, but I think we can work around it. So we're going to be very aggressive. I think we can get, one big guy because we've got a pretty good team and we've got a good bullpen. I feel like our rotation is relatively solid. And offensively, I feel like we're good to go. So I think we can really just grab one big guy, kind of put us over the edge, and that's what we're going to be trying to do. Well, we got Shohei Ohtani. So it was kind of interesting. So I had to actually click, if we go to here and set game strategy, I actually had to manually click use as a two-way player. We're also going to be force starting him as a designated hitter. So basically when he's pitching, he'll be a pitcher. Obviously when he's hitting, he'll just be a designated hitter because I kind of feel like I don't really want to risk him getting tired or injured out in the field. And we've got really good defense in the outfield already. I don't really feel like we need to have Ohtani running out there. But anyway, very exciting. So he is the DH. He is also obviously in the starting rotation. He immediately becomes, according to Terry Francona, our ace, really. But I would consider him below Morales. Either way, it's a huge get. And if we take a look at the contract, it is substantial, but it's not absurd. So the last year is a team option, so it's a 6-year deal. Obviously, for a pitcher, I don't really think the back end of this contract is really going to make a whole lot of sense. But, if he becomes a DH only, it's not the end of the world. And I feel like he'll be really valuable as a pitcher and a hitter combo. So that's what we're going to be using him as. So he'll be making $31.4 million, and then that team option year, a little bit more money. It is a $4.6 million buyout. So, all right, so we are here at the Rule 5 draft. Hopefully we can get a catcher, maybe a relief pitcher here, something along those lines. Let's see, we have the 26th pick here in the Rule 5 draft. Not that it seems to matter because all the other teams don't really seem to pick anyone up. I guess I should take a quick look and just make sure we don't have any players on here that we want to retain. So taking a look here, there are a couple catchers right at the top here. This guy looks really good. What the heck? Yes, please. I think I'm going to take this guy. There's also Luke Hancock. Well, actually, his catching ratings aren't that great. And the OSA doesn't really like him, which, again, in the Rule 5 draft only, I kind of take the OSA ratings a little more seriously because they seem to be more accurate. But yeah, this John Polanco looks pretty good. He's not going to be a real stud or anything, but I like his catching ability to go along with some okay offensive ratings. I guess in the minors he's been pretty bad, but certainly worth a pickup, I think. So we're going to grab Polanco. Anyway, I'm just going to complete this draft, but we got a good catcher, so That is a success in my eyes. All right, we are still going here. So we are at spring training. I think this is where I'm going to end off the episode because if there are injuries during spring training, I don't really want to deal with it. So let's take a look at the preseason predictions. All right, so the predictions have us being 92 and 70. We're going to be a very good pitching team, apparently. We're only going to give up 678 runs, which is pretty far and away the best in the American League, and a 3.94 ERA. We'll see if that is the case. But in terms of runs scored, we're pretty average, nearly the best in our division. But certainly you can see some teams in the American League West there and in the AL East a lot better than us offensively. So we'll see. You can see Shanowski projected to be the top pitcher in the American League. Okay. Blake Snell, number 2. Like, excuse me, where's Osmer Morales and Shohei Ohtani? Whatever, that's fine. So I don't really put too much stock into these, but I am a little curious. I just want to make sure that Morales has not declined. Does not look like he has, at least yet. But that's going to do it for this episode. Pretty excited about this season. Obviously with Ohtani, I think it's going to be fun. That's a lot of the reason that I signed him. But we've got some really good players up and down the order. We've got Jorge Corona coming up. But either way, I will see you guys at the first year player draft.